Hello, everyone. Welcome. So for this session, we're going to be talking about Power BI sharing and security. So how do other people see these reports? There's going to be a lot of information, and we're going to preface first. Once again, things are in flux, really in flux. So according to Microsoft, SSRS will move to PBIRS, which is the Power BI report server. So you have SSRS, which most of the canned reports are hosted by. Since SSRS is moving to PBIRS, according to Microsoft, allegedly, by 2033, eventually Epicor will have to find some other way as well. I'm guessing it's going to be the PBIRS, but you never know with Epicor. So wait and see. For SQL 2025, it's still in preview, but it's no longer going to come with that SSRS. It's allegedly going to be coming with PBIRS. Also, 9/9/2025, Epicor announced it will no longer sell on-prem SQL or provide support services for on-prem SQL moving forward. We still provide both. Call us if you need assistance because we'll help you out. So what this means for Power BI sharing and security, things are changing. You might want to wait for SQL 2025 to be released.
2025.2 enhancement info just said that they are signing a deal with new report software this week. A new tool is on the horizon.
Oh, so it's different software. All right. Was that part of that presentation that was just at 11? I signed up for it, so they're going to send me the recording. We'll have to see what happens. But for that reason, I would be careful how much time and effort you're going to put into making reports right now until things kind of settle a little bit. So if you have big initiatives, perhaps wait till 2025-2 comes out with its new software until this 2025 SQL releases. Just with all of these huge fluxes, you don't want to do a ton of work and then redo it. So if you have the leeway, if you have the time to wait, I would wait a little bit, kind of see how things shake out. If you do develop now, keep your developments clean. Try not to do a ton of workarounds. If you have to do workarounds, maybe save them for later, because you don't want to do a ton of development, a ton of workarounds, a ton of credentials, things like that, just for that to no longer work when all these changes come through. Also, anytime there's a new announcement, check those integration pathways first for any corruptions, because those are the things that are going to corrupt first once the license expires or a new update is released. It's going to be those integration pathways. Okay, so let's go. Let's talk about PBIRS. Yay. So this is an article that was, I think, in June. Yeah, June of 2025. And it's just Debbie Lyons, which is the director of product marketing. She goes through and talks about the Power BI report server replacing SSRS and like when it's going to happen, the accessibility that'll come with SQL, all that good stuff that SSRS used to do. One of the cool things that they are promising, which is, once again, until it's reality, you never know. But it looks like the data modeling, the visual dynamic reports, the custom visuals, all of that kind of stuff comes with the Power BI report server. So instead of just those paginated reports, which are like the traditional SSRS reports, which are just a page and they're printed and you can subscribe to them, all that kind of stuff. For this one, it looks like you're going to also have dashboards, which would have been cool if Epicor was going to have that as a native integration. But if they're doing new report software, then that stinks. It would be really nice to have those really pretty, highly dynamic dashboards as just part of the integrated reporting within Epicor. But once again, we'll see. We don't know what's to come. So what is the web portal? So when you publish to the web portal, whatever name you're signed in under via your Windows login is going to be what you're signed into under Microsoft Power BI. So you can click this little Power BI service and you can log in there, or you can log in through your account. So you can log in up here, but it'll take you into the web portal. So once again, web portal is Microsoft Fabric, Microsoft 365 Copilot. They keep changing the name every day. So it might be something else today even. So within that web portal, there's a lot of licensing blocks. I don't know if anybody has come across those, but once you get things into the web portal and try and share via the web portal, you come under licensing restrictions and who you can share to, how you can share to them, that kind of stuff. And so you can share to users in the Fabric web portal as well, assign them licenses, all that kind of stuff. And so you're going to be using your Microsoft, your Windows like username and password and things like that, and you'll share via those elements. So you can use row level security and you can restrict data, all sorts of different things via the portal. Okay, so when you publish, it pushes the file into the Fabric web portal. You don't have to use a data gateway. So there's like a separate software that you have to download that's called the data gateway. It's through Power BI. On-premises data gateway, but you don't have to use the data gateway. But if you don't currently, and this is just currently, there's a lot of changes, but if you don't currently, it will not refresh. It will not auto refresh. The only way to get that data to refresh is to publish it again. So every time you publish it, whatever data is connected to it will push up into that portal, and that data will only be relevant as the last time you published it from like that desktop, or refreshed it in the portal if you have some order like other data connection to your data model. Okay, so for the licensing, to share any file with this gateway requires a subscription license for the developer and the person receiving the file, except when you share the URL to public web. And we'll explain that. I don't know if I actually go into that later, but the public web element I would not recommend. It requires going into your admin portal. You have to put on there that you can, that it's an okay thing to share via your web portal. So it opens it up to everybody. You don't want to do that to your data. Okay, you can share to users in the Fabric web portal, and that's going to use your row level security, and it's set and restricted via the portal. So you can assign those specific users if they can edit or if they can just read or whatever it might be. You can give them that security. The Teams widget, you can use the Fabric web portal and add that little Teams widget to your Teams channels. You can add it to your just chats, and you can add the actual file via that into Teams to share. And I think we talk about that in a second. QR code sharing via mobile app. So there's also a mobile app for Power BI, and you could share reports that way as well. And once again, that row level security is set and restricted via the web portal. You can share a URL to public web. Yeah, I'm not going to share the instructions because don't do it. You don't want it fully public. So anyone that has that link can access that data. Okay, so licensing has changed in the past year, and it's likely going to change again. It's been changing really fast. There's a Fabric free one, but anytime I've seen somebody do the free one, it's always a trial. I'm not really sure how long those trials last or what happens after the trial is done. So if you can still even consume content, or if the freeness is only within the trial. There's also Pro and Premium. So in that Pro, you can publish to other workspaces and share with with users and other things like that. And the Fabric free license can consume content, but once again, I'm not sure what happens after that trial period. And then Premium per user has even more rights. So it's kind of like it goes up in terms of abilities and options. There's also the so there's subscriptions, and then there's the actual Fabric platform. And Fabric platform is more of an entire organization. So you'll get like a licensing for your whole org instead of just per user. So this would be like subscription would be more per user. Fabric would be more per organization. And once again, I think all of this is going to change with some of the changes coming up. But you have Pro, Premium, and Power BI embedded. And this was like $10 a year or two ago for Pro, and I think even before that it might have been less. So constantly changing. This might even be different now. Okay, let's talk about the data gateway. Okay, so this is more for on-prem users. This isn't, I think you could probably try it for a cloud, but I have not tried it for a cloud customer. It's a gateway that is a software you download from the Power BI website directly onto a workstation or some other a workstation. I'm not sure if this is going to be retired or if anything's going to happen to this with a lot of the changes of SSRS hosting and the SQL integration. I'm not sure if this is going to be fully needed after all of that, but we'll see. Right now, if you downloaded it, you'd have to download it on a computer that is on all the time. So some sort of element that's on all the time. There's all sorts of rules that it can't be on your direct server. And the reason it has to be on all the time is so it's available and accessible. So if you have like an auto refresh option that is set for your data gateway, you don't want that data gateway to actually be off. So if your computer is closed and off and you have a refresh at like 2 a.m., that refresh isn't going to happen. So that's kind of what they say about the data gateway. But that's the only auto refresh options, which I know a lot of people really want that auto refresh. It comes from the data gateway currently. Right now with Pro, because I have Pro, you can choose, it's a specific set in time refresh. So it's not like every 30 minutes. It's like daily, monthly, weekly. So if it's daily, it's this hour and this minute. So every day at 2:30, every day at 1:30. So you'd have to set it that way instead of like every 30 minutes, every hour, or whatever it is. With Pro, I think you get 10 auto refresh scheduled options, so per report. So I could do it daily at 8. I could do it daily at 10. You can do those elements. For the minutes, you're only offered on the hour and half past the hour. Premium, you get more auto refresh options in terms of how many you can schedule, and I think there's more specific minutes options. So like instead of just on the hour and every half hour. So this data gateway is essentially an API. It works between your data source and your portal, and so it will work to push that data up into the portal. Yeah, so set it up on a computer that is always on, but on your main server. You need to add credentials for the data gateway, data authentication, and the web portal data model. So once again, all of this may be subject to change with the integration of SQL and things like that. Once again, you don't have to use the data gateway. It's just that currently there's no auto refresh without Azure. Azure has a lot more options because of the integration. There's just native integration, so it might just be there already for you. And your data will only be as relevant as the last published copy if you don't use the data gateway. Okay, let's talk about team sharing. So there is an app. There's a Power BI app within Teams. So all you have to do is make sure you have that app downloaded into the added into Teams. It would be here after you do that, and then you can just add. If you just go to like a channel or a chat, you'll see how they have post files and this little extra button. You would just click that extra button, and it would offer you up. What do you want to add? Do you want to add a Power BI thing? And anything from your workspace that you've published would be available to add via this little addition, and then it'll show up as a tab within here. So you could have a shared Power BI dashboard as part of a Teams. Once again, if you don't have the data gateway, it's only going to be the data is only going to be as relevant as whatever you last published. So as long as you publish constantly, you don't even need the data gateway. But if you want the data gateway and you want that report to always be in Teams and always be published at like 8 a.m., you would do the data gateway, set it for like 8 a.m. to be refreshed. So the web portal publish and share. So you could do some low licensing modeling with auto refresh, because I've seen a lot of people that want to do like shop floor monitors that auto refresh. And you could do that with the free license consume, but with the trial, I'm not really sure what the trial ends, what happens when the trial ends, and so you might have to get more than one license. So you can set up the data gateway, you can set up a computer sign into the Power BI web service, web account for the shared user, and then you can display on a dashboard from there and set an auto refresh to set in the semantic model with the refresh based on whatever refresh options. So that would be low security if you just had one license. So I say to pro license is probably the best, because it would create a security pathway at least. So you could have one user that's like the developer and is a pro license assigned to them, and then you could have like a read-only user or a shared user that has different row level security. If it's like a financing element, this is the user that consumes financing stuff, and so maybe the finance department shares that user. Whatever you're comfortable with in terms of security. I mean, obviously you could just get everybody a license if that's what's most comfortable for you, but just trying to give you any of your options here. Okay, so once again, sharing security without the web portal, you can do that PBIX file sharing. So anyone who has the PBIX file itself, the desktop created PBIX file, if you just save it on your file share and you just put Windows security on that specific folder, then only the people that you want to see are going to see it through your Windows Active Directory security and rules. So that could be one way that a lot of people could share something without having to do all of the licensing through Power BI. You could just use your Active Directory security and licensing, which is what a lot of people use for security of files anyways. So it could be a really great one. You can, once again, also PDF and send out that email, print out and post, handout, although printouts from Power BI sometimes aren't as great as like a paginated report because of those, sometimes all like the margins and stuff don't print out right. And once again, you can connect to a projection device for presentation meetings, displays, anything like that. So like shop floor dashboards, anything like that, you could just connect a computer with the file on it and share it out. We're going to talk a little bit about Copilot and Azure OpenAI. So I would just say be careful. Anytime they announce AI, machine learning, any of those like really large data models, do a lot of checking on the security, and if they are in compliance with whatever rules and regulations that you are bound under. I know we have people that follow us that have government contracts, things like that. You might have a lot of compliance rules in terms of how your information is used and can be distributed. With those big AI models, there could be some stuff that happens in order to make that AI, that large crunching of data work, that may not be in compliance with the rules and regulations that you're subject to. So with Copilot currently, there are some, first of all, you have to enable, or it's enabled by default. So if you're in your Fabric M365 Copilot web portal, I would go in there and unenable it, so disable it until you check to see if it's in compliance with anything that you might be subject to in terms of rules and regulations. Specifically, there's one element that it says to enable Copilot in such regions where the infrastructure may not be available via Azure yet. Users are asked to consent to cross-border data sharing. Data sent to Azure OpenAI can be processed outside your capacity's geographic region, compliance boundary, or national cloud instance. So essentially you're bypassing certain compliance constraints to use AI based on availability of that AI. That is directly against some government compliance rules. So I would do a full compliance review before I would use that service or have it even enabled, just to be safe. You don't want to be found to be not under compliance just because you didn't notice that. So just be aware.